It happened only a few weeks ago, and I still don't have the right words to explain it. I live with my family on a school campus. It's not unusual here. There's a small apartment block where we stay, a playground, a college, a kindergarten, and the main school building. My mother works as a coordinator, so we're always around when classes are in session. That day started out like any other. My mom was working in the AV room, my friends were playing outside, and my class was in the middle of IT practicals. Then my mom saw something, or rather someone, walking into the school grounds. She said it was a person of unknown gender, completely covered. A very thick white cloth was wrapped tightly around their head, no gaps, no way to see through it. And yet they walked perfectly straight, no hesitation, no stumbling, just walking directly toward the kindergarten. My mother froze. She said it wasn't just fear she felt. It was something worse, like a wave of dread that makes your body go cold. She wanted to hide, to lock herself in the room, but she couldn't. Everyone relied on her. So she ran out and told the cleaner to lock the gate immediately. They did, and the strange person turned and left, chased off by the PT teachers. The security guard never even saw them. We all thought that was the end of it. But the next night, we found out we were wrong. That evening was calm. School was over, our dog was inside, the cat was asleep on the bed, and everything felt normal. Until our dog started barking. Not just barking, growling, in this strange, harsh tone we'd never heard before. My mom got up to quiet him, but as soon as she stepped out, the barking grew louder. I followed her to the doorway, and immediately that same feeling hit me, the same cold dread my mom had described. She pulled the curtain back and looked outside. Nothing, just darkness. But the feeling stayed. Something wasn't right. A few minutes later, the neighbors started shouting. There was someone outside. It was the same person from before, the one with the white cloth wrapped around their head. Except this time, they were at the teacher's quarters, banging on the window, over and over, harder each time, until the sound moved from the window to the door. Then it stopped. When the teachers peeked out, they saw her, swaying back and forth, holding on to the railing, singing this eerie little tune under her breath. And then she leaned forward, almost falling, and whispered something none of them could understand. Then she disappeared into the night. Later, we learned she was found again, near a pond just behind the campus. The drivers said she'd been sitting there under a tree for 2 days. When they finally approached her, they used a long stick to unwrap the cloth from her head. It was a woman. Her face was dark, expression blank, like she wasn't really there. That night, our dog barked again. My mom said she felt her presence before she even looked out the window. The teachers confirmed that the woman had returned, banging on doors, whispering things no one could quite understand. Eventually, some of the staff confronted her. They asked who she was and what she wanted. All she said was, she came from a faraway place, one we used to live in. Then she cursed at them, screamed, and fled into the dark. My mom swore she saw her again the next morning, standing by the gate, staring straight at the school. And I think she's right, because sometimes, when it's quiet, I still hear my dog growl, and I know she's out there.
It happened a few years ago in a small town in Massachusetts. Me and a few friends were sitting around a fire late one night, just drinking, laughing, and talking about whatever came to mind. The air was cool, the fire crackled softly, and everything felt calm. The kind of night where nothing bad ever seems possible. Then one of my friends started telling us a story. He said that a few years earlier, his dad had been outside late at night when he heard a strange whistling sound coming from the woods behind their house. It wasn't just any whistle. It was slow, drawn out, like someone was mocking him. Even the dogs started barking like crazy, the hairs standing up on their backs. To show us what he meant, my friend actually did the whistle. It was this eerie, taunting sound that hung in the air just long enough to make everyone laugh awkwardly. But then, from somewhere deep in the woods, we heard it again. A faint whistle, almost identical. I told my friend to turn off the music. He did, and for a moment, everything went dead silent. The fire popped, the wind rustled the leaves, and then it came again. Louder this time, clearer, the exact same whistle my friend had just done. We froze. Nobody said a word. Nobody even breathed. It didn't sound like an echo. It didn't sound like someone close by either. It was too precise, too deliberate, like whatever was out there wanted us to know it was listening. We stayed outside for a while, pretending to act like it was nothing, but none of us laughed after that. The rest of the night, every sound, every creak of the trees or crack of the fire made us flinch a little. Even now, years later, it's something I still think about, because we all heard it, every single one of us. And whatever was out there that night, it was whistling back.
I used to live in a cheap apartment complex on the edge of town, the kind with flickering hallway lights, water-stained ceilings, and paper-thin walls that let you hear the worst parts of other people's lives. I was broke, finishing night classes, and barely keeping myself together. Across the hall lived a man I never really spoke to. His name was Mr. Dale. Mid-40s, quiet, pale, always wore the same brown jacket. He didn't bother anyone, but something about him always made me uneasy. Maybe it was the way he'd just stand in the hallway sometimes, not saying a word, just listening. The first time I really noticed him was one night around 2 a.m. I was coming back from a late shift, and as I was unlocking my door, I heard faint scratching. Not from inside my apartment, from across the hall. Slow, deliberate scraping sounds, like someone dragging metal across wood. I froze. Then the sound stopped. When I looked up, I saw his peephole light flicker, like he'd been watching me. A few weeks passed, and things started getting stranger. I'd find my doormat moved slightly. My lock scratched like someone tried to force it. Once, I woke up to the sound of heavy breathing right outside my door. Slow, labored breaths, like whoever it was had their face pressed right up against it. I called the landlord. He said Mr. Dale had lived there for years, paid on time, never caused trouble. But the way he said it, quick, almost dismissively, made me think he didn't want to talk about him. Then, one evening, the smell started. It was faint at first, like rotting meat mixed with bleach. By the second day, it was strong enough to sting your eyes. People started complaining. The landlord said he'd check it out, but nobody saw him actually go into Dale's apartment. On the third night, I couldn't take it anymore. The smell was leaking under my door. I went into the hallway and saw liquid, dark, sticky, seeping out from under Dale's door. The air was thick and humid, and my stomach turned instantly. I called the police. When they arrived, they broke the lock and pushed the door open. The smell hit everyone at once. I saw one officer step back, hand over his mouth. The apartment was dark, every window covered in newspaper, and inside, he was sitting at the kitchen table, perfectly still, head tilted down. In front of him, dozens of Polaroids spread out across the table, all taken from inside our building, the stairwell, the mailroom, the laundry room, people sleeping in their apartments. Some of them were me. Then they found it, the hidden panel behind his fridge. Inside were more photos, dozens of them, old tenants, faces I didn't recognize. Some of the pictures were of bodies. The coroner said he'd been dead for days, a stroke maybe. But the camera on the table had new film inside. The last photo taken was of my door. The timestamp? 2 nights before they found him.